A woman who had been divorced for many years suddenly realized that her best friend's son had grown into a remarkably handsome young man. A strange thought instantly began to form in her mind. After a simple introduction, the boy leaned affectionately against her side. Although there was a gap of more than 30 years between them, their conversation flowed as if no age barrier existed. Yet just as they moved from strangers to familiarity, this carefree young heir made an astonishing and unreasonable request.
Kiss me.
This is Chéri, adapted from the controversial novel by Colette. Her name is Leah, a 49-year-old elegant woman who still possesses the graceful figure of a young girl. The faint traces of time on her face only add to her mature and captivating charm. Such a woman, overflowing with allure, unexpectedly finds herself drawn to a boy of only 19. During their 6-year relationship, Leah not only provides him with material support, but also gives him endless emotional care. Yet this love that crosses the boundaries of age ultimately ends in tragedy. The streets of 19th century Paris are filled with both glamour and decadence. In this dazzling social world, Leah, in her 40s, stands as the unquestioned center with her unique charm. Every smile and every glance she casts is enough to captivate everyone around her. Whether seasoned older men or youthful aristocrats, all fall under her spell. However, as time passes, Leah begins to feel her strength fading. She realizes she can no longer enchant people as effortlessly as before, and a growing sense of loss fills her heart. So she decides to step away from this glamorous social stage. At the same time, her best friend makes the same choice. She too was once a stunning beauty, forming close connections with several European monarchs and even stealing many admirers from Leah in the past. But now, her reckoning has arrived. Her bloated figure and sagging skin create a stark contrast with Leah, who is the same age. Meanwhile, her 19-year-old son Chéri follows in her footsteps, frequenting luxurious venues every day and indulging himself in a life of excess. This leaves his mother deeply worried about his future, so she decides to entrust Leah with guiding Chéri, hoping she can lead him onto the right path. At first, Leah hesitates and intends to refuse the request, but the moment she sees Chéri, her thoughts change instantly. After years apart, the little boy she once knew has transformed into a strikingly handsome young man. His appearance captivates the middle-aged woman completely. As soon as they meet, the boy warmly throws himself into Leah's arms, his playful affection making it impossible not to feel drawn to him. Leah, equally captivated by his charm, impulsively invites him to stay with her in the countryside for a while. Seeing how well the two get along, her friend feels relieved and believes that Leah is capable of guiding Chéri toward the right path. But within this warm and tranquil garden, their conversations slowly begin to draw them closer together. Leah could not help but reach out to touch Chéri's face, her fingertips gently traced across the boy's skin, carrying an indescribable tenderness, and Chéri was equally unable to resist such a captivating woman. They chatted casually about trivial matters, and in a moment of distraction, the boy cautiously made a bold request.
Kiss me.
Leah was slightly stunned, as if drawn by an invisible force, and then leaned in for a kiss, but at the very moment their lips met, Leah suddenly came to her senses, her face overwhelmed with panic and confusion. It was a feeling she had never experienced despite her years in romantic affairs.
You think I've never kissed a handsome mouth before? You think that's going to make me lose control? I mean, even if we were to, not that I can see that happening.
Well, you raised the subject.
Hearing the boy's response, her heart began to race, and along with her nervousness came a hint of anger. It was as if she could not bear the sudden emotional impact. She quickly pulled away from Chéri, taking a deep breath in an attempt to calm the storm within her. Chéri quietly opened the window, letting the rich fragrance of flowers fill the entire room. Then he turned around, his eyes revealing a depth and determination.
Come here.
In that instant, all of Leah's restraint and defenses completely collapsed. She knew her actions were full of risk, yet she could not resist. Not long after, Leah invited Chéri to move into her luxurious countryside residence. At first, she only intended for that summer to be a brief indulgence, but unexpectedly, he stayed for 6 years. In the beginning, she remembered her friend's request and even hired a boxing coach for Chéri, hoping he would change his reckless habits. But as time passed, Leah gradually realized that Chéri's personality was like a crystal, brilliant yet fragile. His pale and handsome face always carried a trace of youthful innocence, yet his eyes were constantly veiled in an elusive mist, filled with confusion and vulnerability. It was precisely this mysterious quality that made Leah fall deeply in love with him. Leah's mature charm and Chéri's youthful fragility formed a striking contrast. yet blended together in perfect harmony. Their love was like the flowers in the garden, vibrant and full of life. When Chéri asked her for the most precious jewelry, she gave it to him without hesitation. She also spoke to him like a mother, sharing life's philosophies, accompanying him with a gentle voice and a caring gaze. Whenever night fell, the two would lean on each other, spending every sweet evening together. And just like that, 6 years passed in the blink of an eye. Under Lee's influence, Chéri gradually shed many of his bad habits and became more refined and gentlemanly. Such an unimaginable life even astonished Lee's servants, because in their eyes, no one had ever stayed by Lee's side as long as Chéri had. Yet this forbidden love could not escape the constraints of reality. Chéri's mother would eventually arrange a suitable marriage for him. On a lazy afternoon, as everyone sat chatting, a familiar acquaintance arrived with his daughter Edme. Edme appeared shy and spoke very little, but Lee's friend was unusually enthusiastic toward them and kept urging Chéri to escort Edme home. After the others left, Chéri's mother turned to Leah, her eyes filled with gratitude. She expressed great satisfaction with how Leah had guided Chéri over the years, but then she revealed her desire for a grandchild. She had already reached an agreement with Edme's family, and the wedding would take place next month. What was even more shocking was that Chéri had agreed to the marriage. At that moment, Leah felt as if her heart were being torn apart. She could not imagine that the man she had devoted herself to was about to marry, and that she was the last to know. She tried to control her emotions and remain calm, but inside she was filled with pain and reluctance. She could not understand why Chéri had not told her, why he had chosen to betray their love. In that instant, Leah felt her entire world collapse. On the way home, neither of them spoke a word, as if they silently understood the situation. But in the end, Leah could not hold back and asked him,
You and your mother have been cooking this up for months.
Why are you giving me a hard time?
Because you're a coward.
In this delicate atmosphere, Chéri was like a child who had made a mistake. Unable to meet her eyes, Leah then asked how much the girl's dowry was worth. He hesitated for a moment before answering that it was about $1.5 million. Leah replied with a hint of sarcasm that he had made quite a profit this time, but the boy said his own worth far exceeded that amount, only that he could not defy his mother's decision. As soon as he finished speaking, Chéri threw himself into Lee's arms like a dependent child. That brief closeness seemed to awaken Lee's maternal instincts once again. In a gentle voice, she told Chéri to cherish his wife, care for his family, and become a responsible husband. Yet worry appeared on Chéri's face as he asked what she would do once he left.
What do you mean, what am I going to do now?
The next day, Chéri asked Leah the same question again. Faced with the boy's concern, Leah took a deep breath. She finally admitted that her bond with Chéri was deeper than with anyone else, and that she had never invested so much of herself before. Now that Chéri was about to leave, she could finally release herself and experience the long-lost freedom of being alone.
You're to be kind to her. Do you hear me? Don't make her suffer. Mine is over.
That's not what I want.
Oh, I'm afraid from now on what you want has very little to do with anything.
Lee's tone was unusually calm, as if she had ended countless relationships before, without a trace of emotion. But when she gazed at Chéri's sorrowful face, the pain in her heart felt like it was being torn apart. So she lovingly chose a special gift for him as a wedding blessing. Yet no matter how dazzling the pearl cufflink was, it could not dispel the gloom in Chéri's heart. Even though his bride was only 19 years old, cold and beautiful like an emotionless doll, she could not fill the emptiness within him. On that same day, Leah also bought herself a green gemstone ring. There was a crack running through the center of the gem, as if it symbolized her broken heart. She had never imagined that she would fall in love with a man, nor that she would shed painful tears because of him. Now, she could only bury this pain and love deep within herself and endure it in silence. In the stillness of the night, Leah once again saw the illusion of Chéri leaving. She woke from the dream in agony, calling out his name loudly. From that moment on, every day became a torment for both of them. Chéri sat on the train heading to his honeymoon, but his mind was filled with Leah. He had no desire to look at his wife, and even on their wedding night, he was cold and distant, treating it like an obligation. Leah, too, could not free herself from his departure. In the end, she chose to leave without a word and return to the vibrant hunting grounds. But this time, it was only to seek comfort for her soul. After some time passed, Chéri eagerly returned home after his honeymoon. He saw a letter Leah had sent to his mother, in which she described a carefree life and even hinted at a new lover. This letter ignited a fierce jealousy within Chéri. To uncover the truth, He pretended to invite his wife to visit their home, but deliberately left her behind halfway and went alone to Lee's residence. Even the servants there could not clearly tell him where Leah was. When Chéri realized she might truly have someone new, his heart sank into despair. He finally understood how deeply he needed Leah. At the same time, his neglected wife began to realize that his heart had never truly belonged to her. She broke down and shouted at him in anger.
I hate you! You don't love me. You never loved me. You're hardly even aware I exist. You're a degenerate. All you ever think about is that old woman.
After a fierce argument, Chéri returned to his indulgent lifestyle, once again entangled with his reckless friends. He seemed to care only for older women, trying to find traces of Leah in them, and every night, he would wait outside Lee's house. Despite his exhausted appearance, he refused to go home, clinging to his stubborn hope. He even rented a room nearby. When a friend asked how long he planned to stay, he simply gave a quiet answer.
Let's just take it one day at a time, shall we?
His mother, seeing her son fall into ruin again, felt helpless and worried. Meanwhile, Leah had thought a new relationship might help her forget Chéri, but she soon realized that some people could never be replaced. It was only after receiving a letter from her friend that she learned Chéri had quarreled with his wife and moved out. Hearing this news, Lee's emotions became complicated, so she decided to return to Paris that very night. When Chéri saw the lights in Lee's house turn on again, a surge of hope filled his heart, as if he had regained direction in life, and he was suddenly full of energy. The next morning, Chéri sincerely prepared a cart full of gifts to thank his wife for her patience and understanding. In the end, the couple reconciled. However, when Leah learned from her friend that Chéri had returned to his family, a strange sense of loss filled her heart. She had thought he was ready for divorce, but instead he moved between her and his wife. This left her both shocked and disappointed. But on the night she saw her friend off, Chéri finally could not resist and broke into Lee's house. The calm situation was instantly shattered. He picked up the ring and demanded to know who her new lover was, but as his emotions surged, he began to sob uncontrollably. Leah held him tightly in her arms, trying to soothe his wounded heart. In that moment, she softly asked him a single question.
Do you love me?
After calming him down, Leah decided to plan an escape for the two of them. She arranged every detail, waiting only for Chéri to agree. But the next morning, when Chéri saw Lee's true aging face through the doorway, he hesitated. Then he told her, with uncertainty, that he did not want to leave his wife. The woman froze at his answer, unable to control herself. She lashed out with harsh words at his wife, calling her the daughter of a courtesan and saying she would one day reveal the same behavior. But this only made Chéri angrier. He blamed Lee's indulgence for turning him into someone who only knew how to take. He accused her of destroying the beautiful image she once had.
Even last night you said you hoped I hadn't done something cruel. You're above all that!
Only then did Leah fully realize that Chéri had never truly loved her. Their 6 years together had been sustained by her selfless giving, fulfilling all his needs without asking for anything in return. But when she asked him to run away with her and take full possession of his life, he felt disappointment and resentment. Realizing this, Leah was filled with regret and self-blame. She immediately apologized to him, hoping to make up for her mistakes. Then, with sorrow, she admitted that she had grown old, while he still had a better future ahead.
Forgive me. I loved you as if we were going to die the same day. I carried you in my heart for such a long time. I forgot you were going to have to carry your own burden. And so, you're going to suffer. You're going to miss me. You must go. I love you, but it's too late.
After saying this, she expressed her final farewell with a kiss. Devastated, Chéri staggered as he left Lee's house. His silhouette was filled with pain and confusion, as if the world had lost all its color. Meanwhile, Leah stood quietly by the window, her eyes following his departing figure. At that moment, she noticed his hesitant and heavy turn, as if he was struggling deeply within. But after a brief pause, Chéri put on his hat again and walked forward without looking back. In that instant, Leah finally understood that he would never return, and her world would forever lose its light. She slowly sat before the mirror, examining her wrinkled and aging face with tired and pained eyes. She gradually awakened from that deep love, but awakening only brought even greater pain. Many years later, Chéri finally came to understand that Leah had been the irreplaceable love of his life. Yet fate seemed to toy with him, never allowing him to escape his inner turmoil. In the end, overwhelmed by pain and struggle, he chose an extreme way to end his life, bringing this tragic love story to its conclusion. And with that, the film comes to an end. Perhaps the most moving romance in the film lies in how it pushes a seemingly pure love into a contradictory abyss. Here, human nature and social context collide like a symphony reaching its climax, only to end abruptly, leaving behind emptiness and lingering sorrow. This emotional contrast allows the audience to reflect more deeply on the nature of love. Love is indeed beautiful, but excessive devotion to it may turn one into its prisoner. Whether young or old, anyone can fall into such a state. The push and pull of love is profoundly complex. Indeed, in any era, acting solely on idealism rarely leads to a way out. Many stories, including those filled with love, often end in tragedy.